SHASN is a political strategy board game by Memesys, and we're going to rebox it here today on Legendary Tactics. SHASN is an interesting game of political strategy, and I'm going to rebox it here for you today. These are the voters of all the different factions, and whenever I'm putting these little bits away, I find it's always good to, hold the bag over top, just vacuum them up. It's the easiest way to sort them, saves a lot of time and energy. SHASN's kind of it's an interesting game with a strange name. I'm just beginning to learn more about it now. And it has a really interesting combination of many different mechanics. And here's a bigger picture of some of the components. You can see the voter tokens have one side where it's blank, one side where it's marked. The ones that are marked are where you can lock in a majority, and you use these voter cards to essentially place voters in areas, and we'll take a look at the board a little bit later. I like to just keep the voter cards all nicely in the shrink wrap. Keeps it very easy to store and dust free, which is great. Essentially, you're spending resources to attract the voters and to gain majorities in the different regions of the board. The components of this game I find are really quite good. There's been a lot of time and attention put into them, and that includes the cards. It includes the boards. Now there's certain things, conspiracies, which you can purchase to help you out. Headlines, which if you place voters into volatile areas, they will be generating headlines and have an effect. So there's all sorts of interesting kind of political. The idea is it's a political type game, an election type game, but it'd be unlike anything you've seen before. It's certainly different from anything I've seen before. This is nothing like 1960, The Making of a President, for example. It is more abstracted. It does have some really neat art as well, which kind of adds to the abstract feel. You can see some of the artwork here on some of these some of these cards here. It's really neat to look at. It's a very unique style. I can't remember seeing style like this and art like this in a game. Make sure you store everything inside the plastic. Keep it safe and organized. And we'll put that back in the box here. And then we're going to look at the different. There's more cards here. There's lots of cards. The Renegade and the patron and the mafioso. There's a bunch of different characters that play into this, and so it's a really combined with the art and just it's a very unusual game in many ways from what I've seen so far. There's an element of almost a party game feel to it. There's also an element of strategy and political ideology. You're going to need to take a stance on issues, which might generate some great conversation at the table. You can see these are the four character types that you have: the idealist and the capitalist and so forth. We're going to put those back in the box as well. Now the rule book for this, and I'll be looking at it in a little while, is not short. There's a lot going on here. The rules seem pretty well laid out though, and so I am looking to give this a try at some point really soon. This is the public reserve box, and so now we've had a good look at that. We're going to put it back in the box there. Now it's time to stow away the voters. All the voters have their own symbols on them and their own color-coded drawstrings, which I thought was a nice touch. We'll just suck up the purple voters here and get those back in the bag. I just thought the drawstrings were a nice touch component-wise. Then we have the ideology cards, which are arguably the heart of the game. This is where you get asked some questions by the player next to you, and you have to take a stance, and based on how you respond, you're going to get different resources. So the question might be, should local municipal bodies be fined for preventable disasters? And these are questions that you might be asked on the campaign trail, and you might need to provide an answer. So it's kind of interesting. You're going to, based on your answers to those questions, you're going to essentially create a sort of political personality. And these are all the player boards here. You can see the capitalist and the supremo and the idealist and so forth. They're anyway, really nice quality boards. But with the ideology cards, you're going to build almost a personality, and they're going to give you resources which you can then spend to influence voters and try and get a hold of controlled districts. And there's the opportunity to gerrymander as well, which is another interesting mechanic. So it's got a lot of really interesting mechanics and so forth that I really haven't seen. I haven't seen this sort of setup in a political game before. Usually political games are rooted very much in, I guess you could say, reality, or they're looking to recreate historical elections. But this is the scenario book, and you can see the districts and how they're laid out. So you've got different scenarios there to try out with different players. And next we have a little graphic novel, a comic book that explains a little bit more of the story and that sort of thing that's involved. And you got to respect the fact the designers had the time and inclination to include that sort of extra flavor, that extra bit of theme. It's pretty incredible. And then you have the resources themselves. So you've got the campaign funds, which are the greens, street clout, which is the red fists there. You have media attentions, which is the blue, and public trust is the yellow. And these are the different resources that you're going to use to influence voters and hopefully get the majority in the different districts of the abstract game board. I always like, again, storing pieces back in their cardboard frames. It saves a lot of space and keeps it very clean and organized. So anytime you pull it out to play, it's going to look great. It's going to essentially look brand new. Taking a quick look at the board, again, you can see this is the spaces where the voters fit. The fractions are, it'll say 6 out of 11. That means that it's a straightforward majority. So if you have 6 pieces there, 6 voters there, then you have the majority out of the 11 total spaces. So it saves you from counting up how many spaces there are on the board. And here's the rule book. As I mentioned before, it's not short, but it's very well put together. It has lots of illustrations and so forth to help you understand the game. And most of the rules are delivered in a nice, concise bullet point. If you look at the top as well, there's a little sort of summary of what you should be understanding as well, just to kind of give you an idea before you start to read the page. This has been our reboxing of SHASN. We hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for watching.